are the universal laws of finance. You cannot go into perpetuity with our revenues at 16.9% of our gross domestic product, 16.9, let that soak in, and our expenses at 24% of our gross domestic product. That delta there is over $1 trillion, and it's cumulative, and eventually, what? This is what happens. The borrower becomes the lender's slave. This is indisputable. And now let's look at the leadership alternatives that have been laid forth. Let's say there are 4 desks right here. The first desk, we lay upon that table the House Republican budget. Maybe it's not perfect. I'd be the first one to say, yeah, it isn't perfect, but it is a plan. It takes 24 years before our revenue equals our expenses. 24 years. And then if we had right here, said this is where the president puts his plan. Now folks, this is not a partisan statement. This is a statement of fact. I have said this across this district at every opportunity with Democrats in the audience, with independents, and I say, look, if I misspeak here, if I'm overstating something, you stop me. You come and tell me afterwards, no, Scott, you don't realize it. Here's the plan. There isn't one. If you said, Mr. President, put your plan right here, a comprehensive plan to get America to where our expenses equal our revenue. There's nothing there. Senator Reid, please put your comprehensive plan right here. There's nothing there. Former Speaker and House Minority Leader Pelosi, ma'am, would you please, in all respect, would you please put your plan here? There's nothing there, and the only plan that's there is the House Republican budget, and to me, that's unacceptable in the sense that it takes 24 years to get us to where we're not borrowing any more money. So, you know, I said this on Bloomberg the other day, and apparently it got a little bit of attention when I was being interviewed by Betty, the broadcaster and the interviewer. She said, asked me to comment on the budget. I said, well, Betty, how about this? I said, it kind of came to me, and I said, Betty, you know, if I was managing a business and I had a business unit where the CEO of that business unit had been in there 3.5 years and it was losing money for 3.5 years, and this person failed to have a comprehensive plan on how to address it, I know what I'd do. I'd fire him. I'd fire him if I liked him personally. I'd fire him if I liked his family and admired his family. That's not relevant. Leadership is about having a compelling and worthy vision and then backing it up with substance. All I ask my friends across the district is to slow down a little bit and to carefully evaluate the options before you. And I share this across the district too. My friends, and they are my friends who are Democrats, they are not the enemy. They're a prospect. You know, maybe it comes from my prior business, but my mission in life is to take a hard Democrat and turn him into a thoughtful independent, because I really believe the facts are on our side. And then to take a thoughtful independent and ask him respectfully to be a fiscal conservative. Thank you, JP. All right, sir. Now, on that point, and Terry wanted me to hit on this, and I will. Look, there are 3 things. When I went to Washington, I observed for a little while, and it was very clear to me that we are headed off this fiscal cliff. It's a matter of the highest order and presents a real and present danger to our country. And I thought, what's causing it? Why are we not listening to each other? Why are we not moving forward with good policy? Why is Congress's approval in that 9 to 11% range? And you always wonder who the 9% are that approve. And I thought, you know, there are 3 things that I can do to lead by example. Lead by example. I don't have to wait for legislation to be introduced. And they are these. And this is how I'm serving you and your families. I'm very deliberate in bringing the right tone to the debate. If you notice today, I always refer to the president as the president, because y'all, what goes around comes around. We need to teach our children that it's good and honorable and right to respect the office of the presidency, privately and publicly. This is good. This is not weakness. Civility is not weakness. Second, where do the facts lead us? A deep a deep respect for the facts, the pursuit of the facts. So often talking points by both parties are inadequate. Indeed, sometimes they're misleading. Test what you're hearing. Test what you hear from me. Make sure that it's accurate. Make sure that what you hear from the national parties is accurate. This is critical. This is a critical time in our country. And I believe that when folks do that, that they'll say, yes, it's right and proper to send Scott back and to elect a Republican for the U.S. Senate and also for the presidency. Now, finally, and I think this is critical too, is not questioning the motives of those with whom we disagree. You know, earlier I mentioned what can happen out here off the coast of Virginia. You wouldn't even see it, by the way. 18,000 jobs, though, created on land. I believe that the president wakes up every day and wants to create jobs. I think he does genuinely want to create jobs. But his policies are irreconcilable with that. Everything I know as an entrepreneur, person who started a business with Terry when we were 21 years old, and one of us was 22, and I'm not going to tell you which one was 21 and which one was 22. But anyway, it was a cleaning business. We hired two people. I hired her and she hired me. I've been creating jobs a long time. And when I heard my Democrat colleagues on the floor literally say this, I can pull up the C-SPAN tape, there's no evidence that more regulations inhibit job creation. If anything, there's evidence that regulations create jobs. Now, I am not a no regulation person. I'm not a, some out there guy that doesn't want any regulations. I think we need lighter, smarter regulations. But it shows a deep philosophical divide about where we need to go as a country. And I tell you this, I'm a staunch defender of the hard-working taxpayers of this district and the hard-working entrepreneurs, because it is truly the private sector, as important as the public sector is. My dad worked at NASA, never saw anybody work as hard as him. For those of you who work at the shipyards and everything else, I hold you in high regard, but we must unleash the creative, job-producing, entrepreneurial, job-creating potential of the American entrepreneur. That's the key. It really is the key. I think it's so important that we lead by example. I cut my salary. I've been giving back about $50,000 over a 2-year period to the government because I really believe in leadership by example. Something I learned at Parris Island when I was about 18 years old. There's not one thing those drill instructors ask of us that they did not first do themselves. I declined federal health care benefits. I declined the federal retirement program, which I truly believe is overly generous. The 403B program, which is a 5% match on what members put in, I think that's too rich, and I declined that. I have a self-imposed lifetime put in. I think that's too rich, and I declined that. I have a self-imposed lifetime ban on me lobbying, and without even talking to my advisors, Herman and I were talking today, he said, yeah, I know a guy that, he just listens to his advisors, but, he needs to make more decisions, just gut instinct. Well, my advisor, I got a couple of advisors here, and they're thinking, oh no, what's Scott about to say? I want to tell you something. I'm adding something else to my list of how I'm setting a standard in Congress. I will not meet with a former member of Congress if they're coming into my office as a lobbyist. Think about it. Think about it. If we can't do this legislatively, think what would happen if 435 representatives and 100 U.S. senators did the same thing. These guys would be out of business. You see, we don't need legislation for everything. We need people to rise up and do the right thing. And I think we need more people with a mindset, what I call a George Washington mindset. He just wanted to serve and go home. He could have been an imperial president. He could have been there for a long, long time. He said, no, I just want to go home to Mount Vernon. Now, I'm not putting myself in the same leagues with that, but he inspires me because I really believe we need men and women who just want to serve and come home. That's a good thing. That's why I have self-imposed term limits of 12 years. If I have the privilege to serve, and we'll take it every 2 years to see. Well, listen, y'all have been so good to listen to me. I appreciate it. I hope you're a bit better informed about how I'm serving you and the district. And I just will close with this. Terry and I hold fast And we probably talk about it in some way or another every day, these words. We hold fast to these words by John Quincy Adams. And that's these words. Duty is ours. Results are God's. Now, the way I can rest in the latter is to know that I've done the former. That I've done my duty and met my duty. And for my beautiful daughter Mallory and her wonderful husband Jackson, who is awesome. Are they still here? Well, do we have a beautiful... I'd just love to see the grandchildren come up here for a second. Because, and I mean this, y'all, this little Reese is not a prop, okay? She isn't a prop, but I tell you, my pastor, where I grew up in Florida, he used to say this, come on up now. He said, you reap what you sow, you reap more than you sow, and you reap later than you sow. And that's so true. The decisions that we make now, our children and our grandchildren will reap the outcome of this. We need to make wise decisions, and we need to make them soon. And little Reese, hey Reese, she is so sweet, and I do think of her, and I think of your family, and your children, and your grandchildren, and the children that Reese represents. It's a high responsibility and wonderful privilege to serve you and your families. But let's meet our obligation. Let's meet our duty to our children and to each other. And that way, when we come together on November the 6th at 7 p.m. when those polls close, Rev, what's going to happen? We're going to have a good outcome, aren't we? Victory! Victory! We'll stop with that. Thank you so much. God bless every one of you. Thank you for standing with Terry and me. It's a great encouragement to us. Thank you so much. We're very grateful for your friendship.